Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crime Country. As always, I am your host, Nick Barksdale, and today we are joined by a phenomenal guest, and that is Dr. Michael Aamodt, the creator and the mind behind the serial killer database at Radford University. And so, without further ado, Dr. Aamodt, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, happy to do it.
When we think of the military, in many cases, we see an image of nothing but professional butchery. And in a variety of online platforms, and especially on social media, in a variety of true crime groups, I see a debate pop up quite a bit, and that is, does the military create serial killers? And honestly, full disclosure, I'm going to be upfront about this. I don't think it does, but I want to actually hear that from you. And so my question is, does the military actually create serial killers? Does it help formulate their potentially violent personality? Or is this merely a misconception true crime fans may have of the military and how it actually operates? And so, is there a link between the military and serial killers, or is that an unfair comparison?
I haven't seen a link. I've certainly read discussions where people think that there is a link, but from our data, I don't really see the link. Now, the problem though is you have to be real careful with looking at data about military service, because again, if you're looking at a serial killer from the 1940s, most men in the 40s and 50s were probably served in the military, right? There was a draft, we had multiple wars, and a much smaller percentage serve in the military today. So you have to first of all be careful about looking across generations, just because of how common it would be to serve in the military. And the other reason you have to be kind of cautious is that if you're reading a media account, and let's say the person was an ex-Marine, they're probably going to mention so-and-so, an ex-Marine killed 3 people. But if you had not had any military service, it's unlikely they're going to say, John Smith, somebody who's never been in the military, killed 3 people. So I think we get kind of that reporting bias where if they had been in the military, they're going to mention it. But if they hadn't, that doesn't get mentioned.
I completely agree. And I had pointed that out in the thread as well. And I was like, when you think about it, most of the serial killers that I've read about that had a military service were usually non-violent areas where they served, like a mechanic, for example, not someone that you see like going through a town with an M16 looking for, members of a particular partisan group, right? And
Right.
so I was like, I feel like people are automatically associating, if you'd go into the military, you're automatically trained to be this killing machine. I think that's a pretty common misconception. But no, I completely agree. I found that I feel like you pointed out, during certain periods and generations, there were drafts. And so you could say, almost any guy who killed somebody in the 40s, in the 30s had served in the military at some point in their life.
Absolutely.
Wasn't exactly their choice.
And you have to remember too that when I was growing up in the 70s, it wasn't uncommon that if you got into minor legal problems, that the judge gave you a choice of going to prison or joining the military. And so you had, in the 70s at least, you had a lot of people that joined the military who were already criminals, and that was their choice. And so again, they have military service, but they were problems before they got in there.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining me on Crime Country as we went over the serial killer database, statistics, and so much more involving the true crime subjects that we are all fascinated and oftentimes terrified by. To all of my subscribers, don't forget to check out the links in the video description below. It'll take you to the database, serial killer statistics, and all of the awesome work that Dr. Aamodt is doing. Dr. Aamodt, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.